Welcome, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Chris's four-step process to generate dozens of donor leads every month. I am Abby Quinlan. I am with CauseVox. I run the content and education component. So the webinars you're seeing here today, that is my piece of the action. Today we have Chris Barlow, who is the Customer Happiness Director. Just a little bit about Chris. He was expecting to work in a cause-focused career or ministry when he grew up, but he was surprised to discover a passion for business. In 2015, he founded Beeline and came full circle through helping nonprofits expand their mission and grow their donor base. Chris loves marketing and considers himself the Customer Happiness Director, but most of all, his skills he masterfully puts together is his two youngest boys down for a nap every day. That is an amazing skill. Should be complimented. So I will have Chris do a little bit more of an introduction for himself in just a minute, but I want to talk to you about CauseVox. CauseVox is a digital fundraising platform for nonprofits. We help you raise more with less time and effort. You can use CauseVox to grow through donation forms, campaign pages, pledge donations, event ticketing, raffles, peer-to-peer fundraising. The possibilities are endless. We offer a best-in-class fundraising platform that makes it simple and easy for you to run high-performing fundraising initiatives for your nonprofit. We also love that when you work with CauseVox, we're going to come alongside you and provide that spectacular hands-on support so you get started in no time. And especially with our social mission, we love to educate and equip. Not only do you get amazing free fundraising content like today's webinar, but you also have a library of best practices and resources to use when you're leveraging your fundraising. So one of our key components is raising more with less time. We want you to get off the ground and we want you to be able to run with it quickly. We also really like the component of modernizing your donations. 9 out of 10 nonprofits suffer with that clunky donation form syndrome. You know, those forms that look outdated and hard to use for donors and are pretty slow. We like to streamline that with CauseVox's platform. We modernize your donation form so you can convert more of those donors and increase the gift size automatically through one-time recurring or even pledge donations. And instead of being boxed into a donation form or dependent on your IT, you can use CauseVox to launch beautiful branded to your nonprofit and your campaign pages that really drive your donations. We also offer social media sharing, donation counters, and donation reporting all in one place. So you have the data you need to make sure that you're successful. Hands-free peer-to-peer fundraising is really important when you're trying to reach new donors because it's really hard in general to find those donors. With CauseVox, we help you streamline this with peer-to-peer fundraising that you can use for any run, walk, race, or just plug in and go into an existing fundraising initiative. You can try this on your virtual events or galas, and many of our clients are seeing 2 times more donations. And one of the big key sellers for me with my nonprofit work is we're able to sell tickets to our events. So everything else kind of tops onto being able to sell tickets in one place. It's really helpful to stay managed and organized instead of using a ticketing site and a donation form and making people go into multiple places. You're able to keep it all in one place, one site, and it's really helpful to sell free and paid tickets, take the donations, or even use it for raffle fundraising. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Chris so we can learn about the 4-step process he has for us today.
Awesome. Let me share my screen with you all. Great, and I assume you can see it. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to do my best to respect your time. I want to make this as helpful, as actionable, as practical as possible, as inspirational as possible. And I'm going to leave time at the end for questions. So I imagine we will be about 35 minutes at the most. So if you imagine you're a new nonprofit, you just started less than a year ago. And now a year later, 3 months into your marketing campaign, you have over 300 new subscribers and you're seeing 50 to 100 new subscribers added to your list every month. That is the kind of story I want you to be able to experience for yourself, for your own organization. And that's what we want to get to. How do you get there? How that example I just shared is a nonprofit that we're working with right now, and they've implemented this exact process. And again, they are a new organization, just formed last year, and have really seen exciting results. The problem with our typical donor attraction process is that we assume that if we build it, they will come. And let me define what I mean by that is a lot of nonprofit consulting and people who are supporting nonprofit organizations. There's a lot that's said to tell your story. If you tell a really good and compelling story, that will draw new people in. And I have no qualms. I actually think stories are really important, and stories do draw people in. But stories don't draw people in who've never heard of you, who aren't thinking about you, who aren't going online and you're the furthest thing from their mind because they just don't even know who you are. So telling your story isn't going to draw them in. So we need an approach, a new assumption, a new approach that will help us build a bridge to new people. And we already know how to do this, especially if you're a social butterfly. If you're at a party or a gathering or a conference, if any of us remember what those things are, we don't think, if we see someone we want to meet across the room, we don't think, oh, if I just like stand here and look at them and hope they'll come talk to me, maybe they'll come talk to me. No, we know that's not a good way to meet someone that we really want to make sure we connect with. We go find a way to walk up to them and ask them their name. And so the mindset change that we need is, rather than if you build it, they will come, it's we need to think about our potential donors. We need to think about our donors and meet them where they are. As Abby said before, my name is Chris Barlow. I'm the Customer Happiness Director of Beeline, and I'm really passionate about helping nonprofits be more effective in everything they do by uniting their efforts, by saying, how can your mission inform your marketing? And how can your marketing further both your fundraising and your mission with the same kinds of efforts? Because it's possible. And that's how we can grow our donor base with less effort, because it's all based on who we are as an organization. And it's based on actually expanding our mission in a way that's not fundamentally changing it or adding more programs that we somehow have to manage now. So when it comes to attracting new donors, our goal should be to try to help them. And the best way that we can do that is to use your expertise that you already have, that you're using to fulfill your mission, to meet a need of a potential donor. And by doing that, you give them a taste of your mission and you connect them to it because they have now experienced it in a small way for themselves. And that's what we're going to look at today, what that 4-step process is. But I want to ask a question, and you're welcome to put your answers in the chat. I'm curious to see what people think and how they feel. And again, this may feel like a non sequitur, but we'll come around to it. How do you feel about email marketing? How do you feel about your email marketing? Is it dead? Are people opening their emails? Is it still effective? Share what you think right now. What about for your own personal experience from what you've read? Ignore it. Yep. What else? Not being used. Dead, plus getting unsubscribes. Underutilized, could be better. Don't really do it. They read what matters to them. Lots of open, little action. Yep. That's good. Spam. Our open rates are slowly decreasing. So for every dollar spent, litmus.com states that email brings in a return of $40. So it's still really effective now, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It's the marketing channel with the highest ROI, and Next After's research shows that it brings in more donations than any other channel. Oh, and by the way, that litmus.com research, that's across nonprofit and for-profit, as email is the most cost-effective, highest ROI channel for marketing. So it's still very much alive, but that doesn't make it easy. And of course, this doesn't This number doesn't include text messaging, but it's still kind of grouped into the same category. So email is still worthwhile, and it's worth us doing. It's just, how do we do it well? And I'm not going to go into all the details about how to do long-term email marketing well today, but I want to build some foundational things that will help and hopefully help you get started. So the goal, the way that we attract new donors is to first get them to subscribe to your email list, because that's how you can start building that relationship and turn them into donors. So that's why that's why we're going to follow these 4 steps to get new donor leads. So let's just start right now and look at the first one. The first step is to plan and create a lead magnet. And I'll define what a lead magnet is in just a moment. Some of you may already know, but essentially we want to offer our potential donors something of value that they want, that they're looking for. People go online to solve a problem for themselves. They go online to entertain themselves with cat videos or other things. They go online with questions, curiosity. They usually don't go online to go just find some nonprofit to volunteer with and donate. Of course they do, but that's not the majority of what people are going online to do all the time. So we want to work smarter, and we want to avoid working so hard by ensuring that if we create something that will help potential donors, we want to know what they're looking for and determine what has proven demand, and ensure that we know that there's a lot of people looking for something that we could offer, and that if we were to ask our current donors about what we're thinking about creating, it's something that they say, yeah, I would like that. That would be really helpful to me too. So I want to share with you a tool that we can use, and a process that you can use to prove the demand and the value of what lead magnet you might create. And again, I'm going to define more carefully what lead magnet can look like, but for now, the general definition is a digital resource that you can create once and use over and over again that solves a problem for your target audience. So the first thing that you can do some of this market research is to use a free tool from Google called the Keyword Planner. And you can create a free account at ads.google.com, and you can find out the number of searches that are being made for any given keyword, and say, okay, how many people are looking for this keyword right now? So let me share the Google Keyword Planner. The way again, once you've created that free account with Google, ads.google.com, you don't have to put in any credit card information. You just go under the tools and settings in the Keyword Planner, and then you can just enter in some seed keywords. And so if you're a food bank, most of your programming is going to be focused on helping people who do not have enough to eat. But that's not likely going to be applying to your donors at all. That's not going to be something that they're really worried about. However, a common thing for most people to have to deal with is, if they do any kind of cooking at home, is getting ideas of what to make, and recipes and meal plans and quick, healthy meals. And so as a food bank, you might have some expertise. You might have some knowledge on how to do this, of how to create a plan, and how to, you may or may not, it depends on your particular organization. But if this is something that your organization has some knowledge about, then you could say, oh, wait, we could create some kind of resource that helps our potential donors and our current donors with this issue. So let's just do some research, see how many people are out there searching online for these kinds of topics. So once you use this keyword planner, you can hit get results and change the time frame to last month. I recommend that way you get a month of data. Last month, this is the number of people who were searching for these keywords. And then I would change the targeted area of where these searches are happening to wherever you can pull your donors from. So if you're a local nonprofit and most of your donors are going to come from your city, change that to your city, enter in that location, remove all of the US or wherever. If you can target your state, if you can target, you get the idea. Make sure that this is relevant for where you can actually are going to likely pull in most of your donors from. And once you've got those parameters set, then I would sort by number of average monthly searches. And then you can just start checking off keywords that are relevant for what proposed lead magnet you might create. You're just you're just trying to get an idea of how many people are searching. So healthy dinner ideas, recipes, fast healthy food, meal plans. You can see on a monthly basis, 200,000 people search, 200,000 searches were made. 70. So this is pretty high volume. This is good volume. And you can also look at this column, the competition. This shows you how many other people are advertising for this. So keywords that have low competition gives you an idea, okay, there's a lot of people searching for this, and it's not going to be something that a lot of other companies are trying to target. And it's a very informational related question. Like, we're not trying to provide a product or service here as an organization. You're just trying to say, can we give some share our knowledge and expertise in an informational format that helps people? And the informational searches are ideal to help you get an idea of the demand that is out there, at least in a numerical way. So once you've checked off all the keywords that seem relevant, you can then download those ideas into a spreadsheet here at the top. And then you could say, okay, what's a different topic that our organization could address? Maybe your organization, you're a food bank, but you also help do job training, interview skills, resume building. So you could do some searches for those topics and get an idea of the total volume of those, and then download that. And then you could compare and contrast and say, how many people are searching for this? Is it pretty similar? Is there a significant difference? Which area, which problem it seems like a better fit for us as an organization to address right now? And once you've done that initial keyword research, then you can start to say, okay, we have an idea of how much volume there is, but what perceived value would a resource like this have? This is where you can ask your current subscriber or donor base to share their opinion. So you can create a short survey and say, we are thinking about creating a resource that helps people with meal planning, with job training or interview skills, or with X, Y, or Z. Which one of these seems most valuable to you? And if we were to create this, would you like us to send it to you if we created this free resource? So one of our clients, I'm using the food bank example because this is a client that we worked with that did this. They're a Jewish food bank. And they said, look, we could help people with different things. We could do a recipe book with healthy recipes for each of the holidays. We could do a guide to Shabbat for the modern family. We could do a guide to Passover recipes, stories, and activities to get your kids involved. And they sent this out to their donor base. And the response that came back overwhelming was, we'd love a recipe book with healthy recipes for each of the holidays, for each of the Jewish holidays. So that told them, okay, this is what we should move forward with. We should create a recipe book because we can put together a good recipe book that cares for our donor base in a way that gives them a taste of our mission again, because they don't need the food that we're providing. Our donor base isn't in need in that way. But by providing this book to them, this is a way to serve their needs around food and holidays and family. That's similar to how we're fulfilling our mission. So now that you know what your potential donors want and are looking for, how can you do it? Well, let's again look at more closely at what a lead magnet could be. And that can include an ebook, an infographic, a video, a petition, an online course, really anything, a quiz, any and all of the above. What should you create first? Well, Next Actor provided some really helpful research that I'm borrowing here on these three categories: petition, ebook, online course. Again, those can be categories rather than a very specific lead magnet. The nice thing about a petition is that it's a single page. You're talking about your cause, the issue, why people should sign it, and how their signature will help support your cause. The problem with the petition is it's still very much an if you build it, they will come approach, because it's about you and your cause. And yes, people can take action to help, but it's not about them. It's not meeting their need or helping them in any way directly. So the conversion rate on a petition page is very low. It's usually between 0.3 to 0.5%, so less than 1%. You have to bring a lot of people to that petition page to really get a lot of results from it. If you were to create an online course, it has the highest conversion rate, on average a 6 to 10% conversion rate. So 6 or 10 people out of every 100 who learn about your free online course are going to sign up for it. Could be even higher than that, could easily go up to 20%, but that's the average. The problem with an online course is for you to tackle creating an online course as an organization, that's a huge project. It's going to take months. But that's why the happy medium, that's why I have the checkbox over ebook, because we create an ebook, an infographic, a quiz, something that gives helpful information in a more condensed format than an online course. It will be able to, it's something you can put together in a couple weeks. And again, you can use it over and over again. And the conversion rate is only half that of the online course. It's 3 to 5% average conversion rate. So it's that happy medium of where you're going to get the most results for the effort that you put in. Here are some examples just to get your ideas flowing. If you're in the arts sector, you could create some videos that, or even potentially have an ebook that teaches different, like maybe handcrafts, or videos that teach traditional dance or language skills. If you're a museum, you could do a video of an exhibit, something that people could access from home for free. If you're in the animal sector, you could have an interactive quiz. What kind of pet is right for your child or for your children? If you're in the religious sector, you could have a podcast where you interview different people of different faiths and ask them the same questions to let people compare and contrast the answers and learn a little bit. Or if you're in the scientific sector, you could do a kit that tells parents how to do STEM activities with their kids at home with everyday objects. If you'd like some more examples, at the end, I'm going to share how you can download our ebook that have over 20 examples in 7 different nonprofit sectors at the end. So we'll get to that later. I don't want to give you a long commercial now. So what is the next thing? Once we've created our lead magnet, we know we know it's going to get a response. We know this is what people are looking for. How do we get people to subscribe? Well, we want to create what's called a landing page. And a lot of you you're probably familiar with a landing page. You've heard the term before. Unlike your homepage on your site, which is going to cater to a lot of different audiences, your landing page is for a specific audience. It addresses a specific issue or question and offers something in response. And so the page should connect to your visitors by understanding the issues or questions that they have and driving them toward your resource, toward your lead magnet. The kinds of questions that you want your landing page to answer, the kind of questions that I'm going to ask if I'm a stranger and I'm visiting your site for the first time, are this: why should I stay on this page? Look, I can just hit back, go back to Google results and find a more relevant page. So make it clear why I should stay. Is your page relevant for what I'm looking for? And do you understand the issue or question? And are you showing a deeper understanding by drawing out the problem and showing how it's really something I should do something about? And then what are you offering in response? What are you going to offer me, or what can I get from you that will help me? And how is your resource going to help me? Can you give me some details? And then, okay, you've made a case for what your resource is and how it can help. Why should I pick it over my other options? Like, again, I can just go back, I can go to YouTube and watch something there. Maybe there's another company or someone that has a blog on this topic. Why should I take the time to read and consider and giving you my email address? So make a case. We have to make a case on the landing page for why it's worth them subscribing. And then, okay, I'm convinced this is going to be helpful to me, but can I trust you? Who are you as an organization, and why did you create this? And do you have some proof as to who you are, or testimonials? Anything along those lines that makes me feel more comfortable with you. And then what are you going to do with my information? Are you going to sell me something? Are you going to sell my information to somewhere else? And then finally, what will happen after I sign up? Am I going to get access to the resource right away? This is a nonprofit that we're working with. And I mentioned, actually, this is a new nonprofit. They just started a year ago. They help students, they help youth who are in a family life situation where they would never be able to travel abroad. It's not something they could financially do. Culturally, it's just not something they would even potentially consider doing because of those financial barriers. And so they take groups of young people, usually post high school, and they bring them on these trips abroad where they get to have a cultural exchange, experience a new country, language, food, and they also get to do a service project together. They make long-term friends with their group, and maybe even friends with people they meet overseas. And so this team that put this this organization together to serve youth, and they truly believe that global exchange and travel can be life-changing. And they know that other people who love to travel feel the same way. They also know, having had a lot of experience traveling themselves and living abroad, that there's a lot of frustration with travel, packing, planning what to do, where to go, when to book to save money, all those different things. It can be really stressful. And so they created this ebook to help the everyday traveler with these issues. And they try to provide some really helpful information to the everyday traveler on how to do this, because they know if we can attract people who love to travel and we can solve a problem for them, and we can show that's part of our mission, is to help people have life-changing travel experiences, then we can easily then connect them to our mission and say, there's people out there who are like you, they would love to travel. We know that travel could change their lives, but they have this financial barrier. They have these cultural or familiar barriers where it's not in the cards for them. And that's what we want to overcome and change. And once people land on the page, they'll see this form, where should we send your free ebook? And that's how they can turn these new visitors into subscribers. And so where do new donors come from? Well, they come from subscribers, as I've been saying. And where do subscribers come from? Well, they come from visitors. So how do we get more visitors? Well, we need to promote this lead magnet. We need to promote the resource, the solution that we're offering, and get it in front of the people who are looking for it. And there's a lot of ways we can do this. I'm not going to go into all the different strategies that you can use, but this approach is really very flexible. You could do it with any kind of strategy, whether that's some kind of advertising like Facebook, social media, SEO, again, any strategies that you already have for your marketing you can use. But I want to talk today about Google Ad Grants specifically, because Google, as you may already know, provides $10,000 a month in free ads for 501c3s. And we've already done the research to say there's a lot of people out there searching Google for these keywords and for this issue. And so we know that there's going to be a lot of people who are looking for this resource, and we can respond to them with an ad that can help them. And you can see in this example here at the top, we have an ad, adoptable kittens and cats. That's what the ad looks like. It's just a regular result at the top of the page that says ad. So Google Ad Grants is a great tool because, again, once you already know the process of what's going to happen when a new visitor finds you and how you're going to meet them where they are and build a bridge to them, this tool gives you free ads and a way to reach them. So what are some average results that you could get with Google Grants? I'm going to share some here. These are just possible. Take them with a grain of salt, please. Your results could be a lot worse. They could be a lot better. So if you're in a region where you are able to target like your city or a surrounding region where you can target a population of 1 to 200,000, the important thing isn't the population that you're targeting so much as the number of people who are searching. So if you're able to target the world, but only 100 people per month are searching for that keyword, then you're going to be more limited in the number of results that you can get. But let's just say you're targeting a population of 100 to 200,000 people, then you'll probably spend between 1,000 and 4,000 of that monthly grant. Again, that's a use it or lose it program. They're not giving you cash. It's just an in-kind grant. With that 1,000 to 4,000 grant spend, you might see between 250 and 1,500 new visitors and 10 to 80 new subscribers. If you're targeting a larger city, a larger metropolis, 500,000, maybe a couple million people, you could easily spend from 4,000 to all of the grant in a monthly basis, get between 500 to 3,500 people who come to the site and 30 to 150 new subscribers. And then finally, if you're targeting all of the US or just a really large city or a couple of different states, you could easily spend the entire grant each month, have a few hundred to up to 5,000 new visitors. I've actually seen some organizations get 7,000 new visitors in a monthly basis for that 10,000 spend, and then get between 50 to 300 new subscribers on a monthly basis. That, again, take this all with a grain of salt. This is just to give you guys some ideas of how the grant can work, and that not every organization is going to be able to spend the entire grant, and that's okay. You can still get meaningful results with it. The more important question is Google Ad Grants right for your organization? And I would say resoundingly no, it's not always the right approach. It's a really good approach If your particular resource, if who you're trying to track, there's a lot of people searching for it, and there are other things that your organization needs in place for it to be a good program. So you can take this quiz that we created. I'll link to it again at the end, and it will just tell you if you're eligible and if it's going to be a good program. But I don't want to take any more time with that. Again, I'll link to it at the end. But I want to say now, okay, how can we go from someone who just subscribed and they're brand new and they don't know anything really about organization yet, and turn those people, start building that relationship with them and lay the groundwork to turn them into a new donor? Well, the strategy that I like to recommend, and you've probably heard from other people out there, is use a welcome series. And I want to talk about, specifically look at what you could put in a welcome series to help you, again, lay that groundwork and give you some really helpful ideas to engage people when they're brand new and get them to open those emails and to click. And another metric that we don't do a lot of talking about is actually getting people to reply and respond, because people who respond and reply are much more engaged than those even who just open the email and then click. And so if we can get people to respond and start that dialogue, then we can, as a development person, we can reach out to them and have a conversation with them and use all the approaches that we already know to build a relationship with a new potential donor, asking them about themselves and about their passions and their values, and finding how they overlap, and they might overlap with our mission. So let's talk about the welcome series briefly. In this example, I'm going to talk about, I think, 6 emails that you can send out. In the first email, you're going to send it out right away, and that should deliver the resource that you promised with them. And the goal is to build trust. Do what you say you're going to do. Give it to them right away. Give them that access that they were looking for. The next day, send an email that introduces yourself. Now, I recommend not sending an email that introduces your organization yet. This is more, who is the representative in your marketing department whose name is on these emails? Can they write a little bit of a personal email that shares just a few bullet points about themselves, maybe how they got connected to the organization and the mission, very briefly. This shouldn't be about you as an organization yet. This is more creating a personal connection. And I can tell you from my own email marketing, when this email is set to go out early on, I get more replies to this email than anything else. I think my ask at the end of the email is, reply and tell me a little about yourself. I get so many people replying, sharing about themselves, sharing about their organization that they work with or that they direct. And it's encouraging, it's fun, and people like to share about themselves. And so opening that door for that dialogue, turning your email into a dialogue, is really effective to start getting people to say, I like the emails that you're sending, and I'm engaged. And so I recommend following this up with not an email that tells about your organization or asks them for anything, but shares more helpful ideas with them related to the problem they found you for in the first place. So again, if you created a guide to help people meal plan or have healthy fast recipes at home, then draw out a few bullet points, a few ideas from the resource and put them in this email. Say, maybe you haven't had time to look at it yet. Here are the top 3 ideas that really help people. Just make it, you don't have to make them the email really long, but just the idea is to say, we want to reinforce the fact that helping you, serving you, creating this resource is part of our heart as an organization. It's not our main mission, but it's an overflow of it. And we want to give you a taste of that too. And so here's some more helpful ideas for you. So they can come from your resource, they can come from somewhere else. It doesn't really matter, but the idea is just, we're here to serve you. In the next email, on the next day, you could ask them a question. Again, just try to get them to engage and reply. So this is a soft ask. You're actually asking them to do something and to take a step, but it might be something that they want to share anywhere, or they're interested to share. You could ask something like, so when it comes to meal planning, when it comes to being a pet owner, what is the biggest frustration that you have right now? Or what is the toughest challenge? And whatever that is, let them know. We monitor, we monitor these emails, we'll respond, and your answers are really helpful for us as we're developing resources to help other supporters, donors, and people connected with our organization. And finally, at this point, somewhere, and again, you don't have to follow this exactly. You can share more about your mission sooner if you feel like it. You can tell a story of how you fulfill your mission. This is the chance to use that compelling story to draw someone in, because now they have a little bit of a relationship with you. They've been served by you. They've been helped by you. And so you telling a story of how you've helped others through your main mission, if you can connect that thread from the beginning of how you helped them, and there's something tied or related to how you this story that you're now sharing with them, they're going to feel really connected. They're going to say, oh, I know what that feels like. I know how you guys care for people, and I can see how you're doing it for this group that's really in need. That's awesome. I love that. I'm personally connected to this now. And now there's a more interest and understanding of your mission. And then in your last email of the welcome series, whether it's your sixth one, fifth one, or whatever, you can have a call to action. You can ask people to join a fundraising event. You can invite them to give to a specific program. You can invite them to volunteer, or you could have them take a quiz to tell more about themselves and their values, or you can invite them to book a call with someone on your development team so that you can learn more about them. Whatever your next step, whatever your call to action is, give them a real ask at this point. You've definitely invested enough, you've poured into them, and you can now say, hey, what about you taking a step toward us? We've built this bridge, would you like to walk onto it? The goal with this whole welcome series is to kind of orient people to who you are as an organization, and to get them to like opening your emails and say, I like what they send to me. It doesn't feel corporate. It feels personal. It seeks to help me. And they share their heart of fulfilling their mission. And the people who are going to become your donors are going to have some connection to that heart too. So, and a ratio you can use, if it helps, is a 4-to-1 ratio. So 4 of your emails seek to serve, inspire them, connect with them, and then the 1 time out of 5 where you make an ask for a donation or to join an event or whatever it might be. And you don't have to always follow that ratio. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they ask. You can make a lot of asks at specific times of the year and have several asks in a row, as long as the overall ratio is that you're not just sending an email to ask them for something every month. And that's another way you can get people to keep opening your emails and to take that next step. So we've come to the end already. And your next step, you can download that ebook that I mentioned. It's on our homepage. You can get a lot of more detail than what we just shared today in this webinar. And of course, there are going to be slides as well that you can get access to, and you can take the Ad Grants quiz. And my goal is just to help you find some way to start implementing this and attracting new people. And if you have any questions now, I'd love to open it up.
That was awesome. And I'll make sure to include that ebook link into the follow-up email for everybody too. We do have our first question. Erica is asking, what kind of open rates and unsubscribes are you seeing throughout the welcome series?
So across most email, your welcome series is when your subscribers are most engaged, more than any other time. That doesn't mean long-term subscribers aren't valuable. Usually they're your best subscribers, but you can, I mean, the rate depends from organization to organization. 30 to 40% isn't totally out of the question for a welcome series. 20% is kind of the average. If that's good, that's solid. Under that, you want to start figuring out what's the problem. But yeah, open series are probably going to be a little higher. And then unsubscribe, you're not going to probably get unsubscribes until you make that call to action. And then people are going to unsubscribe. That's just the way it is. You're always going to get unsubscribes. Email, subscriber churn is just a real thing. It's like 20 to 30% is the average subscriber churn. So you need to be growing your email list 20 to 30% to break even every year.
That's great. I'm not seeing, oh, there is one. So Lori is asking, is the welcome series sent one day for 6 days or one email per day?
Yeah, you can, you can do it like that. You can do what for 6 days, 5 days. I mean, it just kind of depends. You don't, like I gave that template there, and you can use something else, but yeah, 1 per day for the first 6 days. And then, oh, I didn't mention this. In your last email with that call to action, let people know what to expect. Say, we'll continue to send you helpful resources every 2 weeks or once a month or however often that you can manage.
Okay, and we have a question from Amy in the chat. So they are a disability school and college operating as a charity. It's very niche in comparison to eating healthy, pet owners, etc. Do you have any recommendations of where to start or trying to plan with what could be a lead magnet for them?
So I would have to learn more about your organization specifically, but I can just say off the top of my head, if you guys are a disability school, you know how to help families with, they have a family member has a disability, and you know how to help though, like maybe they could go to maybe they're able to go to school or college. Like, how do you prep for that? How do you prepare for what can families do? How can you help families? So that's one thing. And then another area would be like accessibility, and you could teach business owners and anyone who is like building accessibility, website accessibility. I mean, obviously you guys aren't experts in some of those areas, but there's things that you've had to do and you've learned a whole lot. So you start with like, what do we have skills and knowledge about, through our programs or just because of the nature of our organization? And is there a good fit between those and then who our potential donors, supporters might be?
That's a great point. Kay is asking, could you suggest some examples of expertise that an organization would use to raise money in order to support and maintain a Green Line urban walking / bike trail?
Well, yes. So I know I'm in Fort Collins and my family likes to go on hikes, but like finding the right places to hike is a process in itself. And like if I get recommendations from friends, that's like usually the best thing, because they can talk, like I can ask them questions, they can tell me how long it was, how hard it was, et cetera, how pretty. But like if I had a resource that like helped me get that would be awesome and really helpful. And so covering, if I were to create that, I would reach out to people in your community and say, people that you guys know, your current donors, and say, what would be really helpful if we were creating a guide on hikes, like what information do you really need? Like how far away is it from town, and how long is it, and difficult, all the different factors, and just make it, so your goal is to make it easy and convenient for someone to get out there on the trails. That's just the first thing that comes to my mind, but there might be other things that you can do as well.
I love that response too, just getting out there and having that opportunity. Okay, any other questions that you guys can think of in the audience? Any key things, tips as they're getting started with this, Chris, that you really suggest they kind of start to maintain for themselves?
I mean, even if you don't plan on using this for marketing to attract new donors, creating a resource like this is well worth it, because you can use it to retain donors. Like create a resource and send it to your current donors and say, we created this to give you a taste for a mission. We wanted to serve your needs, and you will stand out. Like a lot of nonprofits don't, again, it's good to tell your story and get people involved and let them see the results of their support. But can you meet one of their needs? And so can their support be something almost like they're paying it forward? They're saying, you cared for me, I want to help you care for others. So this is the nice thing about this process and this strategy, is that you can use it for both donor attraction and donor retention.
That's really fair. Great. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. So if you guys do have some, Chris's info is going to be in the follow-up email. So you will be able to reach out to him with any questions, comments, booking anything that you guys might need soon. I want to thank you, Chris, for joining us, and everybody who is in today. It was a great session, and we really appreciate your expertise today, Chris.
Thanks, Abby. Great to be here. And I look forward to talking to any one of you who reaches out. So
Great. Thank you. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
bye.